All right, welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Edge. This is an RPG and gaming news podcast. My name is Hat.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Stan.
And today we are going to be talking about, I don't know, it's a slow news week, guys. I don't think there's really much for us. I'm just kidding. We're going to be talking all about the Final Fantasy VII Remake that made an appearance at the Tokyo Game Show. There was a trailer there. There was lots of gameplay there. There was so much there that it was almost overwhelming, because there was so much for us to go over. So we're going to be just devoting an entire episode to this. And then next week, we're going to cover all the other exciting RPG stuff that is not Final Fantasy VII that was at the Tokyo Game Show. And I'm sure we'll have some other stuff to talk about as well. But basically, to give you guys a rundown, we're just going to go through the main trailer, the 3.5 minute or something like that trailer. And then we got some other gameplay examples that we're going to be going over and pointing some stuff out. Before we get into that, we're going to give our short thoughts on just what we saw in general. And that'll wrap up the entire podcast episode. Looks like Andrew Harrison, he's in the chat. He says, hello, Dragon Quest 123 on Switch on September 27th. You are correct, sir. That was very, very exciting for me.
Yeah, boy.
The same date as Dragon Quest 11, right? That was very odd, but that's okay. I'll buy it anyways. Andrew, you're very sly. I said only Final Fantasy VII Remake, and he came in hot and had us almost talking about Dragon Quest. But no, we'll get into some more of that next week. By the way, I do need to mention here, we are still working with RPG Fan. We're working with them in the future, so we have a partnership with them. And basically, if you have not checked out rpgfan.com, they are an RPG-centered website, if you can't tell by the title. And they have 2 other podcasts on there. They have a YouTube channel that they're starting support with video reviews. They've been doing reviews since the late 90s. So you can go back on there and see every review they've ever done. They have a huge staff of people writing reviews, working really, really hard. They have features on their website that they've done in the past and are planning on doing in the future. And, they do news and all sorts of stuff on there as well. So make sure you go to rpgfan.com. We've been talking with them some more, and they're looking at putting us on their website, on their podcast page in the future. I just got to get them the artwork. So, but that's going to be exciting as well. So we hope that brings in some more traffic. And if you all can help us by going to their website, checking out their stuff, reading their reviews, and checking out their YouTube channel as well, and checking out some of the game reviews that they got, because they're really, really good. So definitely go check it out. Anyways, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh boy. Okay. Who wants to go first? Well, it's 60 seconds or less. What'd you all think before we just go like frame by frame with the trailer? What'd you all?
I thought it was a pretty good trailer. I know there's a lot of FF7 fans who are very displeased with a lot of changes that are happening, like the addition of like these mysterious ghosts, or like how certain scenes are depicted now instead of just how they work. But I'm not someone who's emotionally attached to FF7, so I'll just say as a trailer, and the presentation of everything, I think it's pretty top notch. Just everything looked good. I think the voice acting's fine. The action combat looks really good. Some scenes look like they were done pretty well. Like I like the introduction of like Don Cornelio and stuff like that. And of course, the very last few seconds of that, like I know exactly what happens. I know how. And I've played FF7 a ton of times to know this just happens during the story, but somehow the presentation of it just made it just like it was like a heavy hitting for me. So I thought the trailer did a pretty good job overall.
Yeah, we're going to be doing Final Fantasy VII spoilers, guys. So in order for us to talk about this, we're going to be spoiling the game. So just forewarn you, if you have not played Final Fantasy VII, you're excited about the remake because you want to play the game for the first time in the remade form, Shame on you, by the way, for not going and playing the original first. But if that's you, you may want to turn away, unfortunately, from our podcast. Come back later. So, Stan, what did you think? Briefly.
My reaction was mixed at first, and then I think I appreciate it a little more watching it like a few times because it's a very choppy and like kind of Hollywood style trailer, I guess you could say, like where they're just kind of showing you scene and another scene like every few seconds. And they started off with a lot of altered or just flat out new content, and they like front loaded the trailer with that stuff to start off. So that made me kind of like, ooh, like what is this new character and why are these ghost things so important,
Right.
But as I looked at it a little more closely, there is some changes that are like legitimate changes that they're making, but that I think are probably for the better actually. And FF7 is my favorite game, so I wouldn't say that lightly, if I hadn't really thought about it. So,
Sure.
yeah. Overall positive, like cautiously optimistic, I guess
Right.
I would say, which is pretty much the same feeling I've had from the news that came out at E3.
Like, I think that's the best way to put it overall, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, like mostly positive, but it's like you still see hints of things that's like
makes you scratch your head.
Yeah, like they're adding in new content, which is already kind of like a head scratcher because you needed to split this game up into who knows how many parts, yet you are still finding space to put in brand new stuff that wasn't in the original game, know, which is, so then you kind of question like, well, how many parts exactly does it need to be, or are you just stretching this out for the sake of it, but we won't know that until we actually play the game.
Yeah. I've had kind of an up and down week with everything that I saw, and I mean, I will say that graphically, like I don't think that things get much more polished than this. And I don't just mean that it looks realistic. I mean the color palette is just like I just like want to sink myself into it because it's just so inviting and just so it just looks so polished. So I'm really, really happy about the way it looks. It looks exactly up to the quality in terms of graphics that I would expect from Final Fantasy 16. So they're putting a lot of effort into this, and I applaud that effort. And I guess I would say that I've been up and down with it because at first I was really excited when I saw that trailer, and then I started watching some of the gameplay, and I liked it. I thought it looked good, but I got this overwhelming feeling that, this isn't a remake anymore, right? This is like almost a brand new game.
The straight up reimagining of a
yeah,
it's kind of like a remix almost, right? You've got a lot of the same elements, and it'll probably be mostly the same, but it's going to be just different enough for you to notice all the differences, basically.
The only thing that's really upset me during this Tokyo Game Show thing is that they're still so incredibly vague on some gameplay aspects. Like, we've seen the combat plenty enough. We know how that's going to work now. Mm-hmm. But they don't tell us how we're going to traverse the areas. We don't know if we're going to go from like Sector 1 to Sector 2.
Yeah, exploration is still a huge question mark. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they can't even answer that question. It's like, isn't the game just ready to the point that you can openly discuss how you get from one place to another? Is it super linear where you don't have a choice, or do you get on a train and go to different sectors? Or,
and we can,
I don't know.
While we're analyzing trailer, we can get into some of that details. But I mean, I just in general, I was feeling kind of negative about it, but I kind of realized too that okay, like they're remaking the game. It's a reimagining. Mm-hmm. That disappoints me as a fan. I don't like that. I wish they had just remade the original and like kept to that. And they pretty much have in a lot of ways. Like it's not a complete like totally 180, right? But they have changed some stuff. They've added some stuff, but that doesn't inherently make it bad, right? I think it still could be a good game in of itself and a good story. So I think that looking at it from that perspective might be a little bit better for me. However, I still have stuff to criticize, but there is a lot here to get excited about too. So I'm kind of more in the middle. I think I'm with you guys, cautiously excited, but I don't know. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
we'll see how it goes, I guess,
yeah,
when we finally get our hands on it. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So let me see if I can pull up this trailer here real quick. Well, probably not real quick. This is the entire podcast, but I'm trying to get this pulled up in OBS, and that way we can go over this. There it goes. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna pull up this trailer here, and right here we have the 2 minute and 48 seconds. So I was giving it a little bit of credit earlier by saying it was 3.5 minutes. So this is the initial trailer that was shown at Tokyo Game Show. It's basically a story trailer with some gameplay mixed in, but we're just gonna go through this in like short little segments and kind of point stuff out that we noticed. Stan actually went through and put like little time codes next to like the basic events that happened between this second and this second. So we're gonna just point things out that we notice from those points. Let me put this on playback speed. Okay, I have it on 0.5, so it's moving super slow here. So I'm going to go ahead and press play, but Eric, did you notice anything in the first 13 seconds? Basically with the ghost things that are attacking the seventh heaven bar, is there something you want to kind of elaborate on with that?
I'm not sure so much to say about it. Like the aspect of the ghosts are still pretty mysterious because none of the trailers that we've seen so far has like given us any information on what they might be. Now, granted, we've had ghosts as monsters like in the train graveyard, but it looks like this time that they have, well, they may not even be the same thing. That might just be a coincidence, but um I guess this is gonna be a new plot element added in just to make the first 5 hours of the game be 30 to 40 hours.
Yeah.
And likely it's linked to Sephiroth in some way. It might be like Ghosts of the Life Stream, and
Well, I've heard that initially in the original plot that they were designing for the game, they were going to have these ghost-like remnants that were associated with Genova in some way, and they were terrorizing the planet and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. But the thing that I'm not inherently like, I'm not against it, because if it's done well, it's done well. But the thing that gets me about it, that makes me feel uneasy, is you see, Barrett and Tifa and Jesse attacking these things, and for the first half of the game, Cloud was basically, it seemed like he was battling stuff in his mind that he didn't know what to think about, and some of the other party members, they kind of thought he was nuts, right? And he kind of thought he was nuts. That's one of the things that ended up pushing him over the edge, is he just thought he wasn't who he was. Like, he thought he just cracked, and like he was just like some, duplicate dummy grown in the lab or something. Like, he didn't actually, he was able to lose himself because of all these things that were happening and the way his mind was cracking and hearing these voices. And so I have to think that if the rest of your party is attacking these ghosts from, I guess they don't know where they're from, so maybe that's part of it. But I have to think that if you see other people attacking these, like, it's going to help him hold on to, okay, no, this is real. This isn't me going crazy, right? I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. But again, we only have so much information about this, and we don't know the context at which this happens. And it might be something that's really cool that they added, but my initial reaction is I just don't. Every time I see the ghost, I don't like it, guys.
But it just seems off. It just seems like if you played FF7 a lot, it just feels like something that's tacked on.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going through the normal story by beats, and all of a sudden, oh, spooky ghosts. That's like, okay, spooky ghosts are gone. All right, back to the plot that we're all familiar with. It sounds. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but the way it looks like they just come out of nowhere, and it's just something annoying they have to deal with while going through the familiar beats of the story.
It's like a random encounter.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, I'm sure it's like you said, connected to Sephiroth in some way, and that they may have felt they needed to add these to get Sephiroth's inclusion into Midgar, right? Because if they just have to have Cloud like hallucinating every like every 20 minutes you're playing the game to remind us that Sephiroth is there, that might be a little much.
Right.
So we don't know if these things are being controlled by him or Genova or what the deal is with that. But it does feel just unnecessary, like from the having the perspective of playing the original game many times, right? And Midgar is like paced out so well, like normally. Now, of course, they have to stretch out the game, so you have to have some more content in there anyway, based on their decision to make the first game all Midgar. But
yeah,
if we don't get to visit the entire plate and the upper plates, I'll be really disappointed, because if Midgar is our only go-to place the entire game, then we better see more than what we got in the
just a
original
few
game.
sectors, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so this, like I was saying at the start of the podcast, this was kind of a rough way for me, like, to start the trailer, right? Because I think in the previous trailer, like the appearance of the ghosts around Aerith and Cloud was kind of a lot of us older fans where we were like, oh well, hopefully that's not a big deal, or you know, like hopefully they don't follow that plot point a little too much. But now we have this full attack on the Sector 7 the bar, so it's like, I guess they really are gonna be a big part of the story, it seems, at least early on.
It kind of made sense in my mind a little bit, if you wanted to add this, that it would be something that Cloud and Aerith would be something that they're involved with. For some reason, I wasn't thinking that like the rest of the party. I guess I just assumed that the ghosts weren't actually there. I just assumed that they were like some kind of mental thing that like only Cloud and Aerith could see. I didn't realize they were actually something Jessie could shoot her gun at, you know?
Right. And they like, they knock Barrett down, like, over. So they have like a physical, and I think one of them is like grabbing Tifa towards the end of this clip. So they have like a physical matter to them, I guess.
If we don't see these ghosts at that damn graveyard, I'm gonna lose my mind, because that's the one place in this game these ghosts should be at.
Yeah.
But in this trailer though, in the first like 6 seconds or so, or 7 or something like that, Cloud's running out and you see like Midgar, and then the camera pans out. Like, man, this is really cool. It shows like the whole upper plate and just like everything built up to that, and then like the way everything under it is just kind of like slopped together the best way they can. It's really cool.
In the daytime as well.
That's something I didn't ever understand. Well, okay, in the original game, I always got the impression that they were almost completely trapped in, right? That there was no sunlight, and there was immense amounts of pollution because there wasn't anywhere for fresh air to get in. And so this is kind of, I don't know if that's actually how it was if you go read the Final Fantasy VII lore or whatever, but that's kind of the way I always interpreted it. But I don't mind that sunlight's coming. I mean, it looks better.
Yeah, well, it even makes sense though that, like, even if you're under a plate, that the sun on certain points of the day, right, is going to be at an angle, like in the morning or in the very late afternoon. If it's not directly overhead, it's going to have to shine in from the side, unless the slums are just completely walled in, which, I mean, it's possible because those the reactors are like really, really high up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I always, because you only play like during the nighttime in the original game.
Right, so and kind of the fixed camera angles and such, it doesn't really show you the sun under the plate. So,
but
it's interesting.
There are scenes in the graveyard where it's like at the train station where it's raining. Like, I know in the flashback back with Aerith's adopted mom, when she's waiting at the train there, it's like raining. And so I always thought that was strange. So I was like, so this place is not directly above the plate, because how is the rain coming in? Right, they're in the
Right.
slums down there. So
there was openings then, I guess.
maybe it may just be an inconsistency in the original game that they didn't really think about.
Yeah. Do y'all want to move up to the lame motorcycle guy?
I do.
Okay, let
Sure,
me
yeah,
let
sure.
me get him on the screen here. I've got some stuff to say about him, but I think we all have stuff to say about him. So Eric, go ahead.
Yeah, do you remember that like South Park episode where they're making fun of Family Guy by having like the seals like put hit like little balls into the idea plate? Like I think Nomura has a very similar thing where he has like a haircut, face,
Yeah,
body type design, and it's just the seals just come up and put the design right in, and then boom,
looks
you
like-
have a new Nomura
He looks
character,
like
because this is one of the most generic looking characters he's made by far.
he looks like Joe Dirt with like a sword. Just like Jesus Christ, Nomura. Go
Like,
back
I
to
hope he doesn't have a strong presence in the story, because he looks like someone who's already going to be very annoying.
Yeah, this is gonna
Especially with that mullet.
this is gonna go in the Seymour camp. Even though Seymour turned out to have a good story, initially you're like, WTF? Oh God. So, I got some stuff I want to say, but Stan, do you want to give your thoughts on this guy?
Yeah. So Gladiolus's brother on the bike, right?
Yeah, they would get along.
Yeah.
Like his rejected
So-
cousin, more like.
I guess the only positive I have to bring out of this this bro here is
Just watching
that-
this trip.
that it's probably a good idea to have Soldier more involved in the story, like
Yeah.
other soldiers, because in the original, I believe you only encounter them as a regular enemy in the Shinra Tower, in the Shinra building.
Mm-hmm.
So to have them involved a little bit earlier in the story, and it would make sense that they would maybe kind of come down and try and track down Avalanche, or they would send like one soldier, right? Since Soldier is so great, like probably one of them is good enough to
Right.
finish off these, terrorists that are just kind of hiding out in the slums.
Wouldn't it be
So-
kind of detrimental to Cloud's story, though? Because this
Yeah.
one is like a more prominent
That's what I was
soldier.
wondering.
Isn't he
Yeah.
going to like
potentially.
point out and be like, I've never seen you in Soldier before, but
He could
Work-
that
say
other
like,
sword looks an awful lot like Zack's.
so they could play it off like, well, I don't know, not everybody knows everybody in Soldier, like the big organization or something, but if they're not careful, they could give too much away, right?
Yeah, but in the game, in the base game, Cloud approaches Shinra and he says, "Hello, sir," or something like that, and then Shinra kind of acts like he kind of recognizes him, but he can't remember his name, which I
Mhm.
think probably maybe is probably alluded to maybe Zach or something like that. I don't know, but it kind of seems like it's a very elite group, but
Mhm.
I think that they could work themselves out of it, like you said, and just say, well, I don't remember everybody, or maybe he did meet Zach at one point, but it was brief, and maybe it's been a very long time. So
Yeah.
perhaps he might just think he's him or something like that. I could see them working their way around it.
Yeah. Now that they've included him, they've written themselves into a corner regarding Cloud and his backstory that they're going to have to be very careful how they write themselves out, basically, right? There's a trap that they've set themselves up for here. It'll be completely their fault if they fall into it,
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of the only positive. The design, I don't really like the design. Same with you guys, but
I mean,
Yeah.
I like his coat, but
yeah.
I mean, like he's got a goofy generic Tetsuya Nomura.
I'd say the best case scenario is like this character is actually not that important, and maybe we actually defeat him right here as he's introduced, right? Maybe it's like a motorcycle kind of mini game or gimmicked boss fight that you have to do right there, and you defeat him and he's dead and you don't have to deal with him anymore. And then maybe
Right.
you can find out a little bit more about him, like in the Shinra building later on, like through some optional computer or some data files or something.
His hair is too pretty to not
The
So when
yeah,
I'm
but then I'm from how they've introduced him, I'm worried that he's actually going to be like a reoccurring boss that you fight several times in Midgar,
right,
and
so
we get
Cloud,
almost like a Team Rocket situation where he's showing up every now and then, right? But you
Yeah.
defeat him and then wait for next time. Yeah.
So I when I saw this, I had a couple different thoughts. First thought was exactly like you guys have said. Hey, it's cool that they're expanding the story, and that soldiers should have more of a presence, right? Why are we only interacting basically with the Turks? Like you would think there would be more elite warriors that he would send out to try to take care of Avalanche. So this makes a lot of sense. I like that. And if yeah, it kind of conflicts with the Cloud story, but I think they can work themselves out of it. And I like that part. Now Cloud does say like he recognizes him as being a member of Soldier. So I don't know if that's because he just recognizes maybe like his armor or something like that. But he is able to identify this person isn't Soldier, which I guess isn't too difficult to narrow down given someone's chasing you and they're not wearing this typical military attire, they're wearing their own thing. But the thing that I don't like about this character, and guys, if you like this trailer, trust me, the longer we get into this trailer, the more positive I'm going to get. But like, it's like the first half I don't like, the second half I do like. But this part with this guy on the motorcycle, like, yeah, part of it is his cringy haircut. It just looks stupid, right? But I think the other thing is this just reminds me of Advent Children. I'm sorry, Eric.
I'm just saying he just has a stupid face.
Well, and the thing is, this reminds me of Advent Children, right? He's doing like a backflip or something on a motorcycle, and he's flailing a sword around his head like a helicopter almost, and while he's doing a wheelie, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that is so dangerous. Why are you doing that? Stop. And then he's got this like evil laugh on his face. And I'm like, I want this guy to have more depth. Like the same reaction I had with Seymour the first time, WTF. And then it ended up being one of my favorite characters in Final Fantasy X because of the story they told. I hope that's what they do with this guy, but I have a feeling that he's just going to be some idiot with like an IQ of 10 that like regularly pops up and like wants to challenge Cloud. Like,
Yeah.
but we don't know that. I have to acknowledge that. And I think it's really, really cool that they're exploring the fact that there are other members of Soldier and kind of filling in that gap because that was something that didn't make sense in the original. So I'm glad that they're expanding on that.
There is something this scene does tell me, and that while this game does look mostly grounded so far, like the original game, it does look like they're not above going a little Advent Children sometimes because all this crazy stuff he's doing on the motorcycle is very much Advent Children like.
Yeah, there's some stuff later with Reno that I'm like, okay, this is Advent Children, which we can get into, but he does like a backflip out of a helicopter. Why would you do that? Like there's
Very
propellers,
over the top, yeah.
there's propellers. You're going to get hit by the propeller. Doing the backflip doesn't actually help you. Like, and then there's other insane stuff that happens afterwards that I'm like, okay, it looks cool, but this is stupid. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of where I put this guy in the motorcycle,
Right.
So,
yeah, it's very over the top Advent Children style action, like you said.
Mm-hmm. This Tifa and Cloud scene, initially I thought this was the Shinra Tower, but given there's wooden floors, I think this is just the bar. Maybe a spare bedroom or something. Is that what you guys thought?
Yeah, that's what I realized watching it. And that wide shot of them talking and Cloud sitting on a bed, it goes by really fast, so you can miss it if you're not paying attention, like hyper detail the first time you look at the trailer.
Right.
But then her line leads me to believe that they're going into the flashback in Nibelheim, the promise they made when they were kids.
See, I thought when she said this isn't what I imagined or something like that when I asked for your help, I thought she meant like when I was a kid, I didn't think we'd be blowing up a reactor.
I think this is after
the
reactor, the first reactor. Yeah, and he's just come back to the bar. And Barrett has met up with Marlene. The other guys have gone under into the basement, and then rather than them chatting just in the middle of the doorway in the
Right.
bar, they've like kind of moved to a more private location where then
Yeah.
she's going to talk to him about the promise and ask him if he even remembers, because he's being kind of a douche in the beginning.
I can see that. I can see it. That's kind of the line of events I thought. Like, okay, after the first mission, they come back to talk. They have this one-on-one moment. They kind of had that in the original game. But I thought you were alluding that maybe they would talk about what happened when they were kids, like the burning of their hometown and all that stuff.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I feel like the rest of the party has to be there for him to tell.
Yeah. They're not going into that here. They're just going into the first brief flashback where
before he went to the military.
Yeah. I think that's what's happening in this scene, which is good. I think as long as they keep that mostly the same as it was in the original, but then all they've done is change the location of where that happens to like the bedroom or wherever this is.
Which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and that's a change that's straight for the better, Yeah. We're not just hating on anything that changed.
Yeah.
If we can see a purpose for it, then it's like, oh, okay, well, logistically that makes sense that you would do that. So
did y'all notice Tifa's arms when she's leaning against the wall? I never realized how bony they are, though. I would have thought, given that she's a fighter, that they would have been more toned, I guess, and more like, I don't know. She does pull-ups, like I thought that would kind of build some muscle. But anyways, that was a side tangent. But that doesn't ruin her character or anything like that. The model looks amazing.
Damn well that's not what people focus on here.
Well, I watched this trailer like 25 times. So the first 24 times I focused on her personality. And then the fifth time. No.
Okay.
All right. So, Eric, did you have anything you wanted to add here?
I was kind of wondering myself what the scene was. At first, at the first few seconds, I thought it was like they were held prisoner in the Shinra building. But then I was looking around me like, this isn't like really militarized looking or anything.
Yeah, there's like towels and a rack and like it looks kind of not comforting, but yeah.
And there's like a spot like right under you can crawl under and everything. So I just figured it was like a back room of like 7-7. Also, I didn't think too much about that. Like you said, I think it's just a little bit more expanded on scene with them reminiscing with each other.
Right. After that, we have another Sephiroth headache flashback, and it's totally out of context. We have no idea what's going on here, other than something's going on. One thing I do like is Cloud pulls a sword out and it hits it on this like he goes to pull it out to swing at Sephiroth, and he like doesn't have enough room with his giant Buster Sword, and he hits it on like the roof or the pillar above him, and it like hits back. I thought that was kind of a nice touch, kind of making fun of the game itself, but I don't know.
I mean, I kind of feel like at this point that the horror aspect of Sephiroth, I thought they did really well in the original game. I feel like this is something that's going to get thrown out the window, and they're just going to have these Sephiroth bits come out.
I don't know. Dude, I'm looking at Sephiroth's face here in the trailer, and he's got these like crazy, I mean, like they're like Mako eyes, but they're like so like, you look at this guy and you think this guy's evil.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would not trust this guy if he was looking at me like, hey, come with me.
It couldn't be any more obvious, right?
This guy's not safe.
Seems weird that he smiles also.
What's that?
When Cloud swings the sword, right, and he hits it on the ceiling, I don't know if you can pause like on that.
Sure, I'll try
frame. Yeah, but in the back, it almost looks like you can see like a bar in the bottom left corner, and you've kind of got like a light bulb hanging up behind him.
Okay, yeah.
I wonder if this is like just outside the door of the 7-7 bar.
This seems like it's underground, though, don't you think?
Oh, does it?
I thought.
Well, he's got like a. I'm not sure. He's got like a pillar behind him or something, right? But it kind of looks like a doorway with like a light bulb right behind him.
See, because I thought this was like maybe oh, now that I backed up a little bit, I see what looks like maybe like a street lamp, but I still think like on the back left hand side of the screen here, I don't. It's a few frames back from where he hits it. You can see it looks like maybe like where the train runs, and like this is kind of like basically where the spot on the side of the train, maybe where you get on the train or a train station or something like that. I thought, but it's possible. You are right. It could be that.
I guess it's. Oh yeah, I see a street lamp behind him now. Well, I may be wrong. I guess there's not enough detail to really tell.
Yeah, it
From
is a
that
trailer
quick shot. Yeah.
it's hard to tell. We could be getting it completely wrong.
Could be a whole new area. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. We've talked at length about how we feel about the introduction of Sephiroth. So I guess at this point we just kind of got to see how it's implemented and see if it is good. But I mean, I do like the design of Sephiroth. Here we get a really good close up of his face, and he definitely looks menacing. I have to admit, like this is pretty crazy how he looks. I like it. I don't like his introduction here, but I like the way he looks. There's a parachuting scene after that. I'm trying to fit into place where this actually is in the story.
Yeah.
But
this is like the most confusing thing, right? Because it's like
I think it's not.
What's that? Eric, you broke up at the end.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying it just looks like another brand new scene added to the game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't mind it. We get more time with Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge, which is cool. You know, makes their story a little bit more fleshed out, which is definitely a positive. So it's something that's added that I don't really like. I don't feel as negative at all. Like I'm all about it. I don't have a problem with it. Granted, they could be going for snow cones, and then I'd be like, "This is stupid. Why you hand gliding or whatever to get snow cones?" But we don't know.
This is just a guess, but I think this is going to be some kind of side quest or something with just the three of them and Cloud. Probably maybe between the two reactor missions, because the dialogue here, and if this is the dialogue that they're going to have in this scene in the game, it's Biggs. He says like, yeah, he's a keeper, all right. Right.
Yeah.
No, that's what Cloud is flying with. I think, right?
What's that?
That's Wedge that Cloud's flying with, right?
Yeah, Cloud's flying with Wedge, and I think it's Biggs who says is talking to Jesse because they're both on the same parachute, and he says like, "Yeah, he's a keeper, all right," and that's referencing a line that she had in the train after the first bombing mission, right? Because she says, "Do you think he's a keeper?" And then he's responding like later on, yeah, oh yeah, he's a keeper, all right. So that makes me think like this is after a second mission, and probably after that scene where they were on the bikes. So this is like the end of the mission, and maybe they went up to the plate, and their escape plan was actually just like parachute down back into the slums.
Yeah, it's a possibility too. I do like the idea of us just getting to spend more time with them, and especially if what you're saying is it ends up being true, where it's kind of like a side quest that wasn't in the game. You get to learn more about them. But I wonder if it's something kind of like you said there too, where maybe they're just trying to get into a specific location, like it's part of a mission, and like, hey, we can't really get in there, but I think if we hand glide down there, we can get in there. I guess that doesn't make sense though, because they're not gliding down into the Shinra Tower or something. Or a reactor. They're going down into the slums, right?
The dialogue makes it seem like
it's carefree.
It's carefree, like it's a mission success moment. Because he's like,
like,
oh yeah,
he just
he's a
proved
keeper.
Himself.
Yeah, and she's saying like, yeah, things are looking up these days. Like they just succeeded at whatever they needed to do. And they're kind of escaping back to where the Sector 7 or wherever their rendezvous point is or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting scene. I'll be interested to see how that plays into the story. I mean, look, we got to be honest. It's not uncommon for scenes to be in Final Fantasy trailers that don't even end up in the game. So we could be analyzing this to death and it ends up not being cut.
Right.
But I'm sure this all seems pretty well put together. So, um, from there we go into the Reno scene fight. Now, I had a lot of stuff to say, like different points and stuff, but let me just say one thing, and then I'll you guys can say some stuff. But like first off, like given that we're in a church and we're getting to see this in like the full HD remake, I'm noticing things that are more apparent to me. Like there's an organ in the background and stuff like that. The fact that the church was built. I wonder if they're going to elaborate more on like religious, like the religion in Final Fantasy VII, right? Because I know that they talk about the cycling of souls back to the planet and everything like that. But like for a world building perspective, the fact that somebody built a church and like they had a organ there, so people used to sing and they were worshiping something. What were they worshiping? I wonder if they're going to get into that, but I don't know if they will. They'll probably just leave it like it is and just, yeah, I was worshiping the planet or something. But the thing I noticed with this church though also was that like you can see some really good scenes of it, and like in fast motion it looks really good because there's like debris on the ground and stuff like that. But when you actually like see it more close up with Aerith at like 39 seconds and you see the organ, you can see like the stones and they're super clean. I would expect there to be more cracks and like grimy stuff growing up it, like fungus. And yeah, there's broken wood, but it looks like they just bought this wood at Home Depot. It's the chair by the organ looks brand new. Now, like this could all be added into later because Nomura, he likes to polish these games. He was polishing Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm sure not him specifically, but his team was all the way up to like a few weeks before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. And if you look at the trailers between a year out and when the game actually came out, they worked on a lot. They made a lot of improvements. So I think that they're really going to add on to this. But for right now, I mean, they've done some stuff. Like there's some bricks missing at 42 seconds on the wall that kind of adds to that. But I mean, there's pillars with stuff that's like a whole pillar is apparently broken, but I only see like a little bit on the ground. So I would like to see like just like this place look much more grimier. I mean, it's abandoned. There should be like just like grass growing through the walls and stuff. I want something that looks almost Last of Us like in here. But other than that, it looks good.
Maybe Aerith is the one who sweeps and
she's got some
keeps it clean. Yeah,
some Roundup that she's just spraying the walls and stuff with. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, she's cutting those weeds. Yeah.
I got a lot more to say about Reno and the soldiers, but y'all, I don't want to just talk for like 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, definitely the biggest difference for the scene, while it looks pretty much faithful to the original game in terms of this scene. I mean, obviously, we didn't have a boss fight with Reno and Rude.
Yeah, that's a big change.
We just simply ran away from them. And we had that little mini game where we hit the barrel or like push the barrels to get them out of the way.
Dude, I want that mini game. I'm upset they didn't show that. That'd be kind of silly, but I wonder if they'll implement that.
There might be a cutscene where like they drop a barrel down while
just an Easter egg.
They're both running, but
just a reference. Yeah.
Was Rude even like with them? I remember Reno being there and like 2 Shinra soldiers, but I don't remember Rude being there. Now, granted, Rude is shown like after they're outside the church.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of at a later point, maybe. I don't remember. I can't remember if he was there or not, but if he is there, I don't mind because they're kind of always together in general, so it wouldn't really bother me, if they added that in there. But that would be a difference, yeah.
Reno's design in general is just like pretty much unchanged.
Let me just talk about this, okay?
But Rude though looks like he looks a lot more sleek.
Yeah. Well, hold on. On Rito, because I told Stan I wanted to bring something up, and I'm sure. I don't know.
Yeah,
interested.
Go for it.
Okay. So I'm trying to get a good scene of where the camera pans down to show exactly how far his shirt goes down. And I know there's going to be some people and what they're going to say about this. And Geez, where's a good shot? I need a good shot. Let me just put this on normal so that way I'm not going at like a tenth of a frame here.
41 seconds has a really good.
Okay, yeah. Oh God, thank God. Okay, so at basically 40 seconds, 41 seconds, you see his jacket here. Now, the way I always saw Reno was he always seemed like he was very stylish, and he always seemed like, okay, I just got back from a meeting with the president, and while meeting with the president, I had my shirt up, I had my jacket up, I had my collar or the cuffs on my coat buttoned or my shirt, and I was very professional. But now that I left work and I'm here to take care of business, I'm gonna be fighting and beating some and roughing some people up. I'm gonna unbutton a button or two. I'm gonna undo the cuffs because I'm gonna, I need to get down and dirty. And I think that they went way too literal with this design because, yeah, in the original design of Reno, he's a small character and his shirt does go down this far. But if you look at other adaptations, let me see if I can pull something up here. I got it on the screen here. In Advent Children, I posted this image in the Google Doc that we use. But in Advent Children, the one thing I liked, but not one thing, there's a few things in Advent Children I liked, but one of the things I liked was their interpretation of his style. Okay, it's like one or two buttons down, unbuttoned. Like, okay, he just loosened it up because he's about to get dirty and take care of business. In this trailer, like, it's down way too far, in my opinion. The character sprite in Final Fantasy VII, or the character model, yeah, it was down lower, but I think that had more to do with the fact that the model was super small, and in order to get little details like that out, they had to be over animated, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to see it. So, you would see, characters jump up in the air like 20 feet, right? But like,
Yeah.
I don't think they were actually supposed to jump up 20 feet. It's just, you wouldn't notice a small jump, right? So I think sometimes when they take this stuff a little too literal, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm sure I'll get used to it, but Jesus Christ, Reno, button up that shirt.
You can't have a Final Fantasy game without a metrosexual character.
Yeah.
And have you noticed also that there's no more buttons?
More button?
Like the suit coat jacket he's got, it just has like one clip kind of like around the belly button.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
and in
exactly.
the Advent Children, his jacket had a zipper, right? So it may be that he just leaves his shirt, his undershirt, like completely unbuttoned, and the reason it is the way it is because all he's done is buckle the suit the suit coat, right? The jacket.
Yeah. So the shirt is stupid by design.
Well, he's just chose not to. Like, he's kind of
fighting
cocky, like lackadaisical, like just whatever. Throw the shirt on. He didn't bother to button it up at all, and then he just put the jacket on and he buckled it, and that's what it looks like.
Doesn't it look like Reno uses what looks like a haste spell, maybe, because he moves so freaking fast and he like fades into blue. It's kind of weird. I didn't.
One thing I do,
not this teleport, right?
Yeah.
Despite the criticism, one thing I kind of appreciate more with this is that they're giving each of the Turks a more distinct looking, like a more distinct look this time, instead of them all wearing the same suit. Like, granted, Reno was more the rebel and didn't wear like a tie and stuff like that. But like the rest of the Turks are like all dressed exactly the same. And as you can see with like Rude in the upcoming Seng, which we'll talk about later, but like they all wear something different. So it's cool that they're kind of getting their own distinct looks now.
And it looks like they're probably going to be expanded on, because this trailer shows more scenes than the game had, which is cool. Because before they were basically like what we think this idiot soldier guy that looks like Joe Dirt, basically.
He's forever Joe Dirt with a sword now for me. By the way, thanks.
Soldier Joe Dirt, yeah, yeah. What we basically think this guy's going to be, just like some annoying person that shows up every now and again. That's kind of what the Turks were in the original game. Although the Turks weren't annoying, they had some great scenes, but that's kind of like what we think he is going to be. That's kind of what we think is going to be his play in the game now. So I'm glad that it looks like they're going to have some more scenes. I'm just kind of perplexed that it looks like Reno has, well, I guess he works for Shinra, so he would have access to materia and be able to use it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like moving like a million miles an hour. So
Yeah.
clearly he's been buffed up a little bit. So which is kind of cool. Looks like he's got some kind of electrical thing he shoots out, which is interesting. So
Yeah. I'll say though, the voice acting for him was a little, in English, at least in my opinion, was a little, I don't know, forced. Like it felt very forced, and that's the case with some of the lines in these trailers. Like that's what ends up happening. I think they just choose lines that maybe weren't recorded for that context, but they put
Right.
them over the trailer because they're trying to tell a story like with this scene like very quickly, so they need like a snappy line.
Dude,
I wasn't sold on his
delivery
voice. Yeah,
with
his
the way it's
delivery in this.
edited.
Yeah, which
They do. Go ahead.
it
sorry.
could be like an issue in the actual game, or it could be nothing, and it's just because of how they chose to edit the trailer.
Yeah, they do something similar to this with a Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age trailer, where it's that trailer where they try to make it look like Star Wars, and they say the gang's getting back like halfway into it,
Yeah.
and it has so many cheesy one-liners, like Balthier's like, "We're gonna take care of them" or something like that, and then like they show some like summon, and then somebody else says something else that's like super cheesy and snappy, and that game is anything but cheesy most of the time. It's
Right.
just the way that they cut that trailer. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I wasn't really very impressed with the voice for Reno in how it was done here. Hopefully, it'll be better in the game and future trailers and stuff.
You'll get the option to do the Japanese soundtrack, so maybe that might be better. I was wondering if maybe we could even turn the voice acting off and we could just play it by just reading the text like it was, like it was back in the PlayStation.
In blue bubbles, please, right? And
Oh, dude, I would do that so much. It's just little text boxes. Oh my God, Square, you should do this. This will be classic mode.
Right.
Yeah. How did these soldiers in the background that are behind him? We've kind of seen these before, like this kind of design a little bit. They've taken it to a new degree. But like, if y'all don't know, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, and so to me, like your military fatigues generally are going to be very practical for what kind of environment you're trying to blend into. So, for example, if you're going to be in the jungle, you're going to wear your woodland green camouflage fatigues, right? So that you blend in with your surroundings. If you're in a desert, you're going to wear something that will, like your deserts, which are very, gray and white and yellow that help you blend in with the desert. These guys, like, I guess like it's more futuristic, so it's definitely cool from that standpoint. But like the fact that they got these like little lights on the top of their head, like I just don't like that, because I'm like, what? You're just asking to get shot,
Right.
Because you're like, hey, I'm over here,
Right.
But it is kind of intimidating that they have that. It's kind of almost lifeless, like we're just a drone, which is kind of cool. But I don't really have anything else to say about this. We had that Rude scene as well, which Eric was talking about his design and how they've changed the color of the shirt so it's black and he kind of, or purple, and he kind of stands out a little bit more, which is unique. But that's really cool. I love how when Rude is fighting Aerith and Cloud, he's picking up Cloud. Did you guys catch that? And he's like swinging him around.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But sorry, guys, I've been talking too much. Did you have anything else you all want to say about this sequence?
Rude looks good. Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was just saying it's funny how it's swinging Cloud around and throws him at Aerith.
Yeah, and like Cloud holds onto his sword the whole time.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like, this would be one of the most dangerous things ever. He's got this like 8-foot sword that he's like fully extended while he's like propelling him around. It's just like, dude, I'm not getting anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Dude, I love also when they first show Rude, like how, like when I was talking about the church being grimy, this outside area with where they're talking to Rude, like this looks glorious. Like there's so much just like plants growing up and over the metal, and like it's all like rusty, and like there's like crap falling apart, and like there's stuff like growing through the sidewalk and stuff. This is exactly how I imagine the slums would be in HD, like full like Final Fantasy 7 remake style. This is really really cool. I really love this, and you can see the plate and the top and like the sunlight peering through. It's really cool. So yeah, y'all wanna? I know y'all got some stuff to say about Aerith in the red dress. So, what do y'all think about this? The Aerith dress and the creepy Don Corneo.
Now they really try to emphasize how pretty she is in this scene, like especially close up on her face.
Yeah, this is gonna be my.
We got fireworks going off in the background. They're really hamming it up.
If you guys are wondering, this will probably end up being on a future thumbnail of some sort that we use.
Yeah.
But
it's a definite trailer footage right here.
Yeah. But how'd you guys feel about this? With did you like Don Corneo and like the way he's acting? I loved his voice. A lot of people didn't like it, but I loved it.
He sounds like Mark Hamill.
That's what people have said. Yeah. Go ahead.
It was so similar that I saw like a lot of news sites like mistakenly
report
a headline that like, yeah, he's in the game, but that wasn't actually confirmed. So
that would be really
could have just been clickbait, you know.
I feel bad if it's not him, because the guy that actually did it is probably like, oh, like I don't want to disappoint people, but who's this no-name guy
sounded very similar.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
I mean, he looks very faithful.
Yeah, they changed the color of his hair, but I think it matches a little bit better. Still has that creepy mustache. And oh, look at that chest hair. I just noticed that. The medallion's like hanging in this like bed of chest hair, but it doesn't go all the way up. It looks like he like shaves it like a third of the way and just like kind of like leaves it there. This guy's such a dweeb, but like that's exactly what he should be like.
Yeah. It only makes me wonder how this is going to play out when he kidnaps Yuffie and Elena and Wutai.
Yeah.
She's 15, right?
Yeah. But dude, I really like that. When do you guys think they're going to actually show Cloud in a dress?
They're gonna hold that from us till like the very last minute at best.
I wonder if if it's ever gonna appear in a trailer, maybe the week before, or if they're not gonna show it at all, and they want people to just be surprised by it.
I think they want people to be surprised by it. That's the big thing people look for, and they know it, so they're like, just don't show it till the actual game comes out.
Yeah, because that's gonna be an optional costume, like either after you beat the game or like DLC like $199, so that you can play the whole game that way, right?
Dude, so this reminds me of Dragon Quest XI, the fact that you just said that. And Eric, I'm sure you remember this. This is not really a spoiler, but kind of, I guess, if you don't want to know anything, but it's not story related. There's this costume that you get from Sylvando that and it has the character, and he looks like a big flower, and like while he's wearing it, he's just like shaking his hips and he's like waving. And like you just go around and you have to make people happy and stuff. And it's so stupid, but for like a period of time, that's the strongest armor that you can wear. So like I'm just using it for like way too long. And I'm just like, this is so stupid, but it's hilarious. I love it. Right. Yeah. So like if they let you use the dress for longer, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, that was a funny scene for sure. But do note that Dragon Quest XI S, just a off note, that they're allowing a glamour feature. So you can wear that armor and just have your regular clothes on. Or vice versa. You can have other armor on, but glamour.
So you don't have to deal with that if you don't like that.
Yeah. So like if you like the certain armor set that has a distinct look to it, you can.
No, if you all do that, you don't know the struggle. I played the game like that for way too long.
But anywho, that's they're definitely gonna hold out that cross-dressing scene. I'd be surprised if they show it before the game comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. But dude, I think like I was kind of like up and down with this trailer until I got to this Don Corneo scene, and I'm like, dude, this guy is killing it. Like this guy's
Yeah.
so creepy. So they did a great job with that. Like this is I'm gonna be really excited for that. And I think you're right. They want people to have something to look forward to. So when people are complaining like us, like, oh, they changed this, right? They can have like, people will be like instead be talking about, Cloud in a dress and be tweeting about it. That
Right.
makes more sense. So after that we got Tifa and Aerith and Cloud and the train graveyard doing this cutesy pose. I don't know. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people they didn't like it. I guess I don't know, they thought it was cheesy.
I didn't like it in that it's just too on the nose, right? There's no subtlety. They're showing you the waifu dream, right? Like like in the trailer. And I know this is a TGS trailer, so they're throwing things in there for the Japanese audience. But for me, it's like in the original, the love triangle, right, was not so
obvious.
Yeah, and there wasn't scenes like this in the game for that reason.
That's true.
Really,
Tifa was more mature. Like she understood that, okay, Cloud apparently had this thing for Aerith, and she kind of took a step back, but she still stayed there as a friend. Like it was much more of an adult type thing than this. Like
yes,
Cloud. Yeah,
that I mean it's something that Aerith would probably do, like have her arms around Cloud and just be all playful and everything. Because Aerith is very by nature, but Tifa isn't. Tifa's not like she's very conservative about stuff like this, so she wouldn't just wrap her arms around Cloud unless it's supposed to be some comedy scene where they're like both scared of the train graveyard. But even then,
Tifa makes sense. Oh, sorry. So,
this seems like something Riku would be involved in, right? If like this seems like a Final Fantasy X scene where Riku's like, "Oh, Uni," and she's crying or whatever. Like it's very awkward. Stan, something you said though clicked something. Made me think of something. You were like, okay, it's very like on the nose and fake and just, are they really scared? Right now, they're in a graveyard. We've talked about there could be ghosts here. If you go to the beginning of this trailer, like Tifa's like unloading rounds into these ghosts and like she's like combating them. So it's like this is very frightening. So the fact that like she's grabbing Cloud's arm, I think you sold me on this. I don't like this scene. Before it didn't bother me, but now it does.
I don't. Yeah.
But if only Aerith did it, and then Tifa like notices it and just like kind of glares at her. I think that would make more sense because Tifa, like I said, Tifa's more to herself, but she does have feelings for Cloud. So but she doesn't openly express that. So when she sees like Aerith like wrapping her arms around Cloud, she'll probably get like a little timid or angry or just kind of do the silent treatment type of thing. It's like her coming up and wrapping her arms around Cloud too. It's like, that's not her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've made a change and made Tifa afraid of ghosts for some reason, like in order to get this scene to happen. But she wasn't in the original game. That wasn't really a thing. So
yeah, but I don't think it's going to be a throwaway scene. Probably it's going to be something that you'll just have to ignore. But it just occurred to me because I've been trying to keep track of this trailer. Is there anybody in the comments we should be?
Oh,
is somebody watching that?
We have a lot of comments. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of viewers. Welcome everyone.
Hello.
Yep.
Cool. After that we have Aerith and Marlene and Singh. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I guess so.
I always said like in my head like Singh. I don't know. I always pronounce the T, and I was like, I don't know how you say your name, guy. It's a saying, yeah. Okay, so regardless, he looks sick though. Like he looks very just like I mean business. I like the way obviously it's just a suit, but I mean I just like the expression on his face and just like he's very serious. But I don't understand. He said you led us on a merry chase, Aerith. isn't he currently at her house?
No,
No, because
That's what-
Marlene is there. Yeah.
I thought, yeah, but I thought she took Marlene to her house before she was taken.
I believe this is the scene where, like, they're up on that tower, and Tifa tells Eris to go get Marlene or whatnot. And this is the part where, like, Sang finds them and captures them, puts them in the helicopter.
But I think this is Aerith's house, though, because she goes and grabs Marlene and then takes her to her home,
Yeah.
right? Because this doesn't look like the bar, I don't think. It could be, but I don't think so.
That's definitely not her house. Like, it's way too gritty looking.
I don't know, man. Because
She
what?
could have
I
turned
think
all
it's
the
the
lights
bar.
off.
Hey, so wait, so the Turks take her from the bar and just leave Marlene at the bar, and then after the plate crashes, like Eric's like, "Oh, don't worry about it, Tifa. Marlene's at my mom's house." Like unless from here they run, maybe that's a sequence. Like Aerith runs with Marlene back to her house while she's being chased.
Yeah,
this could be
I think
a
this
ra-
is gonna be a whole sequence here.
Yeah,
Like, Sang's gonna find her, and then there's gonna be like a chase scene, and it's gonna be like Eris only combating and protecting Marlene, probably.
Mhm.
right. So that's
If I had
cool.
to guess.
That's cool. I like the scene though, regardless. What do we got from there? We have Avalanche battle at the plate pillar. This was a
Yeah.
great scene in the original game. How did you guys feel about this? They showed you off a lot of it. It seems like there's some added characters on the
Mhm.
tower that I noticed that weren't. I don't know who they are, but how'd you guys feel about this?
It looks like what this scene would typically be.
Yeah.
Like, this helicopter is a Shinra soldier shooting at them, and they look like they're trying to play the defensive role.
Mhm.
It looks
Yeah.
looks pretty faithful.
I like the idea of the additional like Avalanche members or recruits. That's a change, right? So that's not in the original either. It was still just Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse in the original, and Barrett there, and then you run up the pillar, and Barrett's already at the top by the time you get up there. But
Yeah.
it makes sense that they would recruit other members, like be actively recruiting, and also because they just lost Cloud, right? Like after the second mission or the second reactor, he falls through, and then he meets Aerith, right? But from Avalanche's perspective, he's just gone. He's missing, and they need to carry on, right? They need to keep going with their plans.
Right.
So it would make sense that they're like, we need some more help, right? We just lost our ex-soldier, badass guy who helped us destroy 2 reactors. If we want to keep things on track, we're going to need some more help.
That's a
Right.
good point. Are we
Yeah.
gonna just not be associated with Avalanche at all between when Cloud is taken away from them and like all the way to this point? Are we gonna have no interaction with
Yeah.
Jesse, Biggs, or Wedge again?
Are,
If
are,
we-
are we
at this
going to get
point-
to see their point of view on like how things unfolded with them? Because that would give us a lot more time with them, and that's one of the things they want to do, I think. Randy
if we-
Katase said they're not really delving much more into them. I don't know. Katase says stuff that just doesn't need to be said sometimes.
Katase is really bad at interviews. He should not be interviewing at all.
Yeah. Clearly they're adding more scenes with these characters. Like that's just not true. So I think that's a good point though. I have to think that we're going to see this side of the story because later you see events with Tifa that make it seem like we saw her story of how she got to Don Corneo, So
Perhaps, yeah. Well, I don't know, but I guess it depends how they structure the plot. It's possible that all the additional time we get with the Avalanche members would come before the second reactor mission, if they try to kind of front load it in the story.
that's true. And this could be like near the 80% of the way through the game.
Yeah, because if they just follow Cloud's perspective like the original game does, he's missing from their perspective, like from the second reactor all the way up to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tifa just finds out that he's alive when she meets him at the when she sees, I think she sees him as she like goes by in the carriage, like on her way to Don Corneo's mansion.
Right, and that's one of the reasons
Honeybee
why
Inn.
they followed her was because hey, that's
They saw
Tifa.
her right there. Yeah.
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 So, anyways, so this is the tower scene. This was a great moment in the game. It had great music during it, and it was really sad in many ways. So, um, I like the interpretation here. So it's very cool. Then we see more ghosts with Cloud, and then we see some just random events in the game that him walking down the train and it being scanned, Tifa doing some monkey bar business, but looks like there's a new mini game with Cloud playing darts. I'm sure you can play at the bar, which is cool.
Yeah.
So
hopefully there's more. Yeah.
This was clearly shown to tell us that there's more to this game than simply just running around and battling. There's going to be like mini games like the squats and the darts, and like even like during like places like we're traveling around, like Tifa can acrobat through certain places, or Barrett
what you guys
like can do like and interact with the environment in some ways.
Yeah, what did you guys think about that though with Tifa doing pull-ups? Because Eric, I like the way you're taking it. They're just trying to show us that there'll be more ways you can interact with the environment, but a lot of people were confused. Are they changing events to where Tifa's also in the party and they go to Don Corneo? And I didn't think that was necessarily the case.
I mean, Tifa joins your party after, so
right.
You could probably just go back and do the
and she could do it.
together.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, they could just go back. I want to point out one thing though. When I was in the military, we had to do pull-ups, right? And it was super annoying because someone would count the pull-ups, and unless your elbow's fully extended, they would not count it, right? So they would be like 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, and like you're sitting there like, dude, I just did like 4 pull-ups, right? You're just like, I'm zapped of energy, right? I'm watching these pull-ups and they're only going halfway down. I don't like that. Now let's continue. Sorry. Side tangent.
That, so.
What's that?
They motion captured that, so
yeah. We got Cloud turning into a frog.
Oh yeah, I noticed a few things about this.
I did find it a little humorous that he has a little Buster Sword on the back of his.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You like have a little gun arm or.
So,
yeah.
If you pause the video right around 140 or like 141 maybe.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to tell, but the enemy in the background is the Sahagin, like the turtle guy.
Oh yeah.
Those turtle enemies with the tridents.
With the trident, yeah.
Yeah. So that enemy can't use the frog spell in the original game. And you only encounter them in Midgard down below in the sewers.
It's a very good memory you have.
Yeah, my favorite game. So, but so the thing about this is, if you know that the environment kind of looks like the sewers or somewhere underground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like
you can't totally tell. It's possible it could be somewhere else, but given the enemy, it makes me think it's the same location.
Yeah, because you can kind of see like a big hallway and.
Yeah, and there's like a pipe above overhead.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me wonder why Barrett is there. Because
Barrett's here? Oh yeah, he is here. He's right there.
Barrett is there. I can see his name at the top of the UI.
I thought that yeah, and I'm seeing him right on the screen too. I thought this was when Don Corneo he pulls a lever and you all fall down into the sewer. I just assumed
that's normally when you fight the Sahagin enemies down there.
So why is Barrett here? It must be somewhere else. They must have. Maybe there's more of these guys.
Either you can revisit that area for some reason with Barrett in your party later, or maybe this is like another sewer location. So there would be a second sewer dungeon that you have to use to get to somewhere else, some other part of the city or something.
That's a really good catch. I did not notice that at all.
Yeah, because otherwise there's no reason for Barrett to be there if this is the first sewer location.
Yeah, I mean, Barrett's not putting on a dress.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't normally meet him again until that scene we saw earlier where they're fighting Shinra on the pillar support beam.
That's a really good find. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Good
So,
job, Stan.
Thanks. We'll see. We'll keep an eye out for that, I guess. Maybe there's a second sewer location.
Maybe they're on the way to the Shinra building.
Yeah, maybe they have to go like underground again in the sewer to find the place where they need to climb up or something.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think though, if they're fleshing out this city and they're letting you travel more, so there's got to be multiple sewers you can go into and travel and you know and get from point A to point B if you want to. It's kind of long and stretched out, but you have to think like there's got to be more than just one that you can get into. So makes sense. I think from there we go right into where you see President Shinra and his glorious hologram, which I'm a fan of. I thought this made a lot of sense. What did you guys think?
I mean, it's cool looking, but I take it this is going to be how he presents himself to us instead of personally showing himself there.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense because it's not very smart to put yourself in the line of fire. But at the same time, I think it does show that if you're personally there, that you have nothing to fear. That if you get to jump out of the helicopter and just say what you want and go back, even though there's a guy, there's 3 people there that have magic and range artillery to immediately take you down.
Right.
Like, he's still going out there and he has the power to intimidate you without you doing a damn thing about it. And then he gets in his helicopter and leaves. And now you got the hologram here. And now you kind of think to yourself, now maybe he's a little too afraid to go face to face with him.
Yeah, that's like kind of the direction I was looking at. This was it's very intimidating and it's also smart because just like you said, you know, showing up in person, that's just a bad idea. Mm-hmm. But I do think they and obviously it's very menacing, like I said, but this kind of way this goes about, I feel they've kind of changed the dynamic here a little bit because the impression I got, and I could be wrong from the original game, was that we kind of just stumbled upon President Shinra. Like he didn't like go out of his way to find us. You know, we just kind of happened to run into him. And maybe I could be wrong or misremembering that, but that's kind of the impression I got. So with this, with like these drones searching for them, and then they're like, oh, there's Cloud, and then boom, like the hologram, it kind of seems like he's actively seeking them out, which isn't a criticism or a compliment. It's just an observation, but
he lost weight too.
Yeah, he did lose weight. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that.
Good.
Yeah. What's he been doing? Yeah, on the Atkins diet?
Oh. Now he definitely looks like Rufus's father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? For this remake, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose the weight. Yeah. Anyways, I'm being silly, guys. Sorry. So we have this, and then we have another hologram with Heidgar. It seems like, right?
That looks like him, yeah.
Which he's in charge of weapons development, so it makes sense that he would deploy this boss after I forget what it's called, but it's that boss that's like this robot that shoots missiles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think you see it right here. But
I do like how more energetic Heidgar is compared to the last time we saw him in the trailer. Like this is like the more goofy Heidgar I'm familiar with, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When I see this type of stuff, I'm like, yes, this is the stuff that you should like enhance and add, and this is why a remake can be a good idea. So I'm glad they're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
After that,
I think this is a good change.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I think this is overall a good change. Like, you do lose a little bit of that, you change the president's character a little bit, right? He seems more like a diabolical planner type now, whereas before he was just like very arrogant, like to fly down on his personal helicopter and just like confront these terrorists in person, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of like reckless and arrogant, but also like, you know, you can't touch me. But this way makes it seem like he is actually concerned for his safety, but he still wanted to go out of his way to taunt them, you know?
Right.
So it's like
and
a
they
little bit different take on the character.
and there's a reference to that they're just killing the allies of their mortal enemy Wu Tai, which is kind of an interesting reference. I've seen some people online say, okay, because we're seeing this reference, they're going to try to make the whole Wu Tai moment in Final Fantasy VII, which was previously optional.
Hmm.
Now it's going to be required. So
I don't
clearly
get that
they've.
though.
Go
Like,
ahead.
doesn't Avalanche have no association with Wutai?
That's
I
why.
thought Avalanche was created in Cosmo Canyon.
That's
They
why.
don't. So
That's
I
why.
think it's like a propaganda type of thing, right? They're trying
Yeah.
to pin. They're trying to pin Avalanche as like associated with Wu Tai, who they already have like a conflict with.
Right.
Oh,
That's
okay, I
why.
get
That,
that.
that's why Barrett in this trailer, he says it's kind of hard to hear it, but he says, "What Wu Tai?" You know, because he's confused.
Yeah.
So it's they're adding some stuff onto this. It's not just we're mad at Avalanche because they're blowing up the reactors. Well, I guess that's kind of the main reason, but they're also adding a lot of propaganda onto this to kind of flesh this world out, which is really, really cool. So
Yeah.
from there we see some gameplay. We see summons. We see Ifrift, which he looks super, super awesome.
Mhm.
I think, but it's kind of weird. You get summons in Midgar.
Yeah. Another change.
Yeah, but then again, there is no narrative
Reason.
implication of summons in the game. You kind of just get them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's a big deal if they show up earlier or later.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like they like there were the one thing you can say about Final Fantasy VII is they didn't do a good job with just like you kind of just found the summons most of the time. It wasn't like in Final Fantasy VI where they were part of the lore, the story, or Final Fantasy X that was part of the story. Final Fantasy VII they were just kind of there, so I don't think it's a big deal that you get them here. Next scene you see freaking Reno do a backflip out of a helicopter.
He's
then,
just like just standing on Cloud's sword.
Yeah.
Cloud's holding this entire dude up on his sword while Reno's shooting lightning into the thing he's standing on, like, which is really not a good idea. And like Cloud's holding this entire person up, and then like I don't know, like he pushes off the sword here. I think I can't remember if Cloud throws him off or no. It looks like it's kind of a meet in the middle. They both push away, and Reno does another backflip.
Right.
Looks cool, but also dumb.
Not very practical. Yeah.
Very Advent Children. I really think the more Advent Children stuff they put in, the worse it's going to be for them. Because it feels like you're breaking the rules of your own game. Just like letting one guy be able to flip and be on a sword, and I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
he's not in Soldier, so it's not like there's a lore reason for him to be able to do that, right? He's just, I guess he's still kind of like a highly trained person.
Excuse is that they're materia enhanced,
right?
People. So the materia enhances their ability to like jump or fight and stuff like that, which is, I assume, is the excuse, but it still doesn't. It makes it too cartoony.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
If you think about it, though, the fact that Cloud has this giant sword, it is kind of ridiculous in of its own right. But I think that Final Fantasy VII, the original game, it always did a really good job of being goofy when it felt appropriate and serious when it needed to be serious. So that one thing I didn't like about Advent Children is that it was silly when it was supposed to be serious, right? So I think that's one of the things I'm going to look out for when I get this game. Does it keep those moments, and
does it strike a good balance? Yeah.
We see some more gameplay here. Do you guys have any thoughts on this? Shiva?
Well, the enemy they're fighting, many other videos have already pointed this out, but it's a Eligor, which was like a chariot enemy that was actually a rare monster that you kind of had to farm for in the train graveyard area. So I don't know how powerful this enemy is, but like they summoned Shiva to fight it. So I wonder if it's been turned into a boss. rather than just a rare enemy.
Yeah. I mean, Shinra has quite the arsenal of enemies here.
You're right. Yeah. It looks pretty intimidating and cool though. Like right at 210 or so on the trailer.
Okay,
like
go back.
You know what enemy I want to encounter? I want to encounter that house.
Yeah, the Hell House. Right?
Yes, the Hell House. That would be epic if they put the Hell House in there, dude.
Yeah.
That thing will wreck your world. Like the first time you're playing the game and you're trying to grind, you're like, oh, I got this. I only got 100 HP. What the hell is happening? It's like exploding. It's got arms. It's like shooting missiles out the back, dude. Oh my god, I got so wrecked when I was like 12 playing that thing.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. From here we have looks like, dude, this is such a weird moment because Cloud's running up these steps and then Tifa's like, Cloud, right? And then, you know, she's like, the steps are breaking down. For some reason, the steps are breaking down and she still continues to go up the steps.
Well, I think the helicopter is shooting at them. They're like racing up the pillar at this point.
Right. And you have this Final Fantasy VIII moment where like they almost touch.
Right.
What is going on here? Well, is this where does Cloud fall and go into the church? I thought maybe he grabs her here. I don't know.
No.
I think this is a redemption scene because Tifa like wasn't able to grab him to hold on. Like he
grabs her.
He grabs her.
Okay.
Her.
He's like, this is how you do it. Back
up.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah, but I think it's happening at the pillar. The pillar scene.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're totally right. So I don't know. Interesting. That's a very dramatic moment. And then we have Eric's favorite scene, probably my favorite scene in this trailer too.
I concur.
End. Yeah. The sunset. It's all quiet. No one's talking. This scenes like this makes me feel like, okay, like the original game, it was silly when it needed to be silly and it was serious when it needed to be serious. This is a very quiet and somber moment. And this is it just gave me chills the first time I saw it. Like, wow, this is going to have some good moments in this remake. Like, this isn't going to be all bad. Yeah, Reno's shirt is a little unbuttoned too much, but you know, this is just gives you chills watching.
I'm actually surprised they showed this scene because it already feels powerful right off the bat.
Yeah, without any other, you know, obviously we know it happened, but it's just, I like just how energetic this trailer is, and then it just ends with it just being quiet and just no one talking and just a moment of silence while you just take in what happened. And oh man, you got the sunset, you know, coming up over the top. It's just, oh.
I also like that Cloud is he's turning around and heading back to them. So it implies that, like, I think they're going up to the Shinra Tower at this point.
Yeah.
And he just kept going and then heard like that they weren't following him anymore. And then he just turns around and nobody's saying anything, and he just sees that they're standing there looking, you know, so then he comes back and walks over to them.
See, this is really going to drive home that Shinra is really, really, really evil, right? It's not just like, you know, there's this idea, okay, we're blowing up reactors. That's pretty terrible. They kind of referenced this in an earlier trailer. Tifa's like, is this the right thing to do? You know, you know, maybe we're the evil ones. But then when you see this moment where like Cloud's like just looking out over the fact that they just like killed how many possibly millions of people, and you just
to kill 5 people.
Yeah, it's just gut wrenching. Yeah, this is
honestly, I think this is right after they escaped the tower, and they're like on this platform that they just like jumped off of.
Do you think
they're just now witnessing what just happened here?
Do you think they're still going to be on the pulley cable, and all three of them are going to be on the cable, like kind of like Indiana Jones or Tarzan through the Midgar while it's exploding?
It's possible, but I don't think they're all going to be hugging each other doing it. Just they'll be on different parts of the thing.
Yeah, they'll change that. They have to. That would look ridiculous.
Maybe Cloud holds Tifa and Barrett's under them, but
yeah. But honestly, great way to end this trailer. So
yeah, that was the best scene. I agree.
Yeah, that does tell me that they're capable of hitting some powerful moments, even with stuff that we know is coming.
Yeah. So, I'm just looking in the comments here, see if we missed anything. So looks like there's a lot of discussion here too. So that's awesome. Raconius is here. The Bat and Daniel.
Yeah, we're
KSAR
mostly
Games.
we're mostly positive on this trailer. It seems to me. You guys in agreement?
Yeah,
Like there's some things here and there that we're kind of on the fence about, or we think soldier guy with the haircut looks dumb, but but overall, I think is mostly positive.
Yeah, Soldier Joe Dirt is a negative. Man, we were gonna give like thumbs up and thumbs down and like maybe okay on each segment, but we forgot. But I think you kind of hit it. Like there's some stuff we don't like about it, and we started off pretty negative because they started with those damn ghosts. But I feel pretty good about the game now, and at least from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been doing an hour and a half. Do you all want? There's the 2 other gameplay things we can hit. We will not hit as in depth as we just hit that 3 minutes because that was very, very, very. I feel like almost like I was in that trailer after just covering that, like the emotional highs and lows, and just the last 5 seconds of that trailer just. Whew,
I mean, you want to just go over the major points, like the classic mode and
okay, yeah, let's do
like the summon.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, okay, so the first one we're gonna look at is it's in our doc, but I'll put it on the screen and we can talk about it I'm not gonna like go through like 10 seconds. I'll just let it play and we can do it that way. But the first one is the 15 minutes of gameplay demo that's on there, and so anyways, I think Stan, you had some stuff you wanted to kind of hit on here, so
just some things real briefly.
Sure.
So this video, it's the one that's 16 minutes 52 seconds, right?
Yep, with Katase talking, and it's all in Japanese and no one knows what they're saying.
Yes. Yeah. So if you go right at 27 seconds,
okay,
Cloud is going to start a battle with this sweeper enemy. And let me just pull that up.
Okay, I'm going to slow it down here. So he's engaging the sweeper enemy.
Yeah, so right off the bat, he pulls out his sword and he gains like ATB gauge.
Yeah, right here in the right-hand corner.
Away. Even though nothing has happened.
Okay, let me back that up a little bit so in case you missed it. Right here, it's going to appear. You see his ATB, and Barrett's too. It's going up right when he's engaging.
Barrett's like barely moves, and Cloud's like goes up. Like
it's because he's soldier first class.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, like, does he have like the initiative materia equipped or something, and that's how they're gonna like address that? But it's way too early in the game to have a materia like that. Yeah. So I wonder if it's just the player controlled character at the start of the battle gets like a little extra ATB gauge, like just to get you going.
Yeah.
At the start of every battle. And then right around 29 seconds, he pulls up his sword and he blocks the bullets from the enemy. And you can see his ATB gauge increase as he blocks.
Yeah, right down here, it's going up faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously there's, that's how you're going to build up your ATB gauge, by either engaging or blocking or just basically interacting with the enemy.
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea. It like rewards you for blocking with good timing, right? Because if you don't want to be doing nothing ever, right? So you either want to be dodging or blocking or attacking. And if you're rewarded for doing all of them in different ways, right? So if you're attacking, you're dealing damage and also building the ATB. And if you're dodging, you're avoiding damage altogether if you do it correctly.
Yeah.
But blocking without some kind of other benefit to it, people would just try to dodge, right?
Exactly.
They would just try to dodge everything. But if you block, you build ATB and you also take damage, which builds up your limit break meter. So,
yeah. I'm so happy about this battle system and like everything they've showed us. I was really worried about it. Oh, it's going action based. I like turn based, but this is looking really, really good. So I'm really happy. One thing I wanted to point out, and we won't. Again, this is 16 minutes, so we would be on here for 9 hours. So I got to go to work tomorrow, guys. But At about 48 seconds, you see it's in wait mode, and you're able to select, your ability or magic or whatever. If I put this at full speed, because I had it at quarter speed, you're going to see that time is still moving. Cloud's moving very slow. So even though it's wait mode, it's not like you can just, it's not a pause screen. I don't think you can just go to the bathroom, right? Because you can see the camera's panning over, but you see Cloud, he's gently raising up and like the enemy's slightly moving. I suspect that, obviously if you just sat there and like went to go make something to eat or something, that would be, you would still get attacked, right? It's still not something you can just leave there. So that's kind of I like that. It kind of still gives you enough time to choose stuff, but you still need to make a decision, right? It still keeps you engaged with the battle, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So that's a nice touch.
Yeah, I guess it motivates you to switch between characters also if you're trying to do some combo related thing. Like you can't just like have Barrett just like have the same amount of ATB build as Cloud and then just be like it kind of like demotivates you to not play between the three characters.
Sure.
So maybe that's a motivation to switch over to like say Barrett and use some moves with him and then get his ability up also if, like you need it to help stagger the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking really good. Like turn-based action party-based combat I've never really liked, but it looks like they've really found a way to kind of blend the styles, which is the holy grail for the Final Fantasy series, because they've been trying to go more action-based for a while or just not more action-based, but just more quicker, right? They don't want it to feel slow. So I know this is something they've been wanting to do for a long time, kind of blend the styles a little bit more. And this is about how you do it. I like it. Let's see.
Yeah.
What else did you guys? Stan, did you have some more stuff you wanted to point out?
Nothing there. We get a look at the menu later on.
Okay. Let's see. New menu screens at 8:06. This is where we're going to see the classic mode, right? Well, just a menu layout at first.
Yeah, first they just open the menu. This is the first time we've actually seen the menu.
So seeing Barrett without his sunglasses on this time here, this is kind of like, I don't know why, but it reminded me of Geordie LaForge, because he always has his visor on in Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh.
Whenever you see him without it, you're like, wait a minute,
Right.
this doesn't look right, because he
like
always
the
has
menu.
that on. Yeah, it looks really clean. I like it.
Yeah, I mean it's like a more modernized look of the original menu system was just like blue.
Mm-hmm.
And like this is just like I guess what it looks like in 2019, but I mean, like you just said, it's clean, it's simple looking, it doesn't look like they try to throw too many things at you, at least like on the front.
Yeah, I don't see a PA on here, but granted, this is the Midgar, so
Yeah, and there's no materia, right? But there's no materia option at this point in the game anyway.
Yeah.
But there's no equipment that we can see either, unless that is under
point.
battle settings. Like battle settings could just be a catch-all for like change party members, change equipment. There could be all sorts of stuff in there. They don't go under it, I don't think.
Yeah. With the screen paused on this menu, I'm looking at Barrett's picture here. Y'all notice how many freaking like belt clips and stuff are around his stomach here?
Yeah.
You do know who designed him, right?
Yeah, I thought we were past this. I thought he didn't do this anymore, but no, he still does it. It's okay.
Tomorrow we said that we only keep it limited to 3 belts, but I wanted to put 6.
Yeah, like Barrett, we all know you have a gut under that. He's trying to keep it contained. But anyways, I know that Katase said that magic or materia is still going to you'll still be able to level it up in a similar way to the old game, where it'd be 1 star, 2 star, and then eventually you would master it, right, and it would get stronger. That's it's going to operate in a similar way. So I have to suspect, like I think you kind of alluded to, that later in the game when you get materia, that there would be an option here, unless it's under magic. Maybe that's where the materia screen would be.
I don't see why not, because besides the action aspect of this game, everything else, for the most part, stays true to the original combat system. Like how you progress here is the traditional leveling Like, I don't see why materia can't work the way it did before.
Me either. Yeah.
I
One
mean,
thing.
obviously
Go
there's
ahead.
going to be some changes to some materia because this is not necessarily a turn-based game. So
Right.
Yeah.
some things are obviously going to be taken out or not going to work, or something new is going to be added in. But I think the core materia system is going to be the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. There's no. That was a very good mechanic of the original, and that's easily something that they can leave in the game and not. It won't make it slower or won't make it less cumbersome. That's something that they can definitely keep in there. So I totally agree.
Another good thing they did is a criticism of the original game to an extent is that if you just put materia on people that like they're kind of the same character, with like minimal stat differences, and it's a limit breaks that distinguish them mostly. But in this game, they each character has like a certain role. Like Barrett excels at like hitting range mobs that are like up in towers, and then Cloud's like really good at like one-on-one like uh, melee combat and stuff like that. So it looks like they put more effort into
Making them individuals.
making
Yeah.
them individuals
Play
despite
differently.
the
Yeah.
materia system.
Yeah. Back at that menu though, one thing that came up that really made a lot of headlines here is this freaking classic mode. You got classic, easy, and normal. And apparently classic mode is like when you put on classic, you have to wait for the AT bar to come up. And then I think once the AT bar is filled, then it'll prompt you, hey, what do you want to do? But in the meantime, your characters will just auto their basic attack, which I kind of want to see how that plays out. But I kind of feel that this classic mode was something they just jerry rigged in there at the last minute. Kind of like Final Fantasy 15's wait mode, where they're trying to kind of calm down some of the people that are upset about it not being turn based. I'm not sure this is actually going to be a way you would actually want to play the game. But we don't know,
It seems tacked on because it's just added into the difficulty setting. Like you select easy, normal, or classic. You would think it would be a separate option, right? Like, can't I play classic mode on normal or classic mode on easy? Like,
Right.
So what difficulty is classic? Is it like it's above easy? So is it like very easy, or is
Right.
it like equal to easy? I'm just playing differently,
Yeah. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about it, but I could see people getting bent out of shape about it that they're almost implying like, hey, the turn-based way was easy. This is the real way to play, right? I could see somebody interpreting that because just like you said, classic is above easy, but I don't know. I think they just needed somewhere to put it.
Maybe, yeah. But
I think classic will be a way to play, but I don't think it will be the optimal way to play.
Right.
Like if you want to do like the best max damage you can, then I think you have to keep it on normal mode. I think classic mode is just going to be for the very, very hardcore enthusiasts who just like refuses to accept this as a different kind of game. Be like, I want this to be my Final Fantasy VII as much as possible.
Yeah, I think it'll have more of a Xenoblade Chronicles or like a FF12 feel if you put it on classic mode, because the characters will probably strafe or like move a little bit on their own. They'll probably block enemy attacks on their own, but then you'll just be managing the ATB bar, which is kind of like
Story has this feature also, where you can either have it where the characters are attacking, and then you pick commands, or you can actively manually swing your weapons to be more action oriented.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, it's so much better to be action oriented than waiting around and waiting for your ability to use a ability comes up. It's way more boring in comparison.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's I'll be interested to see how it plays out, but I think you guys are right. It's just something that's going to be there. I mean, come on, Square, or Katase, let me direct this at you. If you're going to call it classic mode, like let's have it be a classic mode. Like let's have it be like Chrono Trigger almost, where you just run up and, to the enemy that's on the screen and then suddenly you get into a random, a turn-based battle. If they went all out like that, that would be awesome. But
I guess it's harmless though. It's an option.
Yeah, you don't have to play it like that, right?
More
So-
options is good.
If you really feel more engaged, having it more like a traditional turn-based system, then there you go. It's built for you.
Yeah, exactly. So, and obviously this trailer or this gameplay footage is showing like the reactor and running down there. Clearly, they've kind of made this a little bit more realistic because you get in that boss fight. It's a lot more open. It's not just this narrow little platform
Mhm.
that you're walking on, and then suddenly you're in this boss battle. It's very, very open, but
Right.
which is kind of cool.
And we've seen this guard scorpion boss fight like a million times, though.
Yeah, I like
At this point, yeah.
I like when he approaches the thing. They see that little feather fall down, and like Cloud starts freaking out again. We've already brought that up before, but now we're
Mhm.
actually seeing it, so that's cool.
So that's a reference that I'm actually okay with, like the Sephiroth reference, right?
Right.
Because he's not shown, and it is kind of just like a very quick, like, well, what was that? Like that was weird, and then business just carries on as usual. It's not really lingered on very long.
Yeah.
It's just enough of like if you didn't know what that was, that's the reaction you would have. You would be like, what the heck was that? That was weird. And then just enough of like a little tease, which is kind of like in the original game, Cloud hears a voice and it says, "Watch out, this isn't a reactor," or something like that.
Right.
And it is just kind of this like really quick, like, whoa, what was that? That was weird, kind of thing, kind of interruption, but then things just carry on. So if all of the Sephiroth references in Midgar that they're putting in were like this subtle, I don't think people would have any complaints about there being too much Sephiroth in there, right?
I totally.
It's the issue is where they show him and like really dwell on like
and they're
these
talking.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he speaks and like you hear his voice and he's like mocking Cloud.
And
that's where it's like, you've gone a little too far for.
It's very Kingdom Heartsy, like
the
way he's mocking him, which feels weird.
Mm-hmm. But if it was like this little feather scene dropping, I think is fine.
Yeah.
How
do you all feel about the bomb? It gives you 20 or 30 minutes. You get to select. I feel like I'm just like, It doesn't bother me, but it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah. Then, like Eric said, we've seen the Scorpion fight a billion times.
Yeah.
So it's.
I want to be an asshole and just be like, put it down to like 4 minutes. You're like, let's do this.
But it's just like, what are you doing? That was crazy.
Help me run fast.
Tifa. I'm paying you more than a little kill. Anyways, so we have this boss fight, and I think that's pretty much it. I think it's crazy that it's not crazy, but Katase is the one on here, hands on. Like, now he's not playing the game, but he's narrating it. I would expect that to be something Nomura would do, but I think Nomura is kind of more focused on the design and like the presentation aspect of this. I think he's not as much concerned with the other stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, during the presentation, it's like, as you can see, Barrett has many belts this time. We wanted to add more belts to Cloud, but you are all very whiny.
Well, in the menu, you can see Cloud has 2 belts on, so he still has more than one. Let me see if I can find it. It's not really relevant, but there was a good scene. Whatever. You guys can go look, but Cloud has 2 belts, so Cloud still gets some belt love. I think that wraps that video up. There's the other one with the other the apps boss battle, which is.
I assume this is the boss that when we get dropped down Don Corneo's.
Right. Yes.
Thing.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, and then we get more Tifa gameplay. This time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. We get to see how she plays.
And fast.
She's punching his kneecaps. I don't think that works very well. He's not reacting at all. Anyways, no, this looks very smooth and very flashy and very inviting to play. But this.
So
go ahead, Stan.
In this video, right at the very start, like around 10, 11 seconds or so,
Okay.
right when the UI pops up and the boss fight begins,
Mm-hmm.
we see that Aerith gains ATB gauge like right off the bat for
Okay.
doing nothing.
Let's see.
But she's not the
Oh
active
yeah,
player.
right
The
here.
player's controlling Tifa. So I'm not sure, is there like a equipment or an accessory or something that allows you to like gain a little bit of ATB at the start of battle?
That's what I was thinking too. Maybe there's some kind of boosting thing you can put on that. Like one of the side effects is your ATB fills up quicker. I
Yeah.
noticed like right when Tifa gets hit, like she's kind of like she's not moving very fast at all with her ATB bar, but right when she gets hit, oh man, she just maxes out a full bar. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
oh no, she doesn't get hit. She just I don't know, boosts up or something like that. It's crazy.
Well, she's blocking also like right around 20 seconds or so. And
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah.
she gets hit and then the bar goes up and she gets hit a second time and it goes like way up and then she blocked a heavier attack, I think.
So I did read that right. Okay.
I did
Yeah.
notice there's a you get rewarded for dodging the boss. He jumped up on the thing and he tried to go after Cloud, but Cloud dodged, and because of that, he got down and he got into a staggered phase.
Yeah, he was like
Interesting.
laying on his belly for a while, yeah.
So looks like you get rewarded for being good with your environment, I suppose.
So
Mhm.
yeah, back to the Tifa thing. Initially, I thought she blocked, but I did it in slow motion here, and it looks like she just did like a special move. And when she did that, it just shot it up. So that's kind of interesting.
I know this is an off thing to point out, but I'm looking at Cloud's hard edge weapon, and it
Yeah.
has 3 materia slots on it shown. One of them the summon one. So if he gets like ultimate weapon in like whatever game that he's allowed to have it, is it going to show every single materia on it?
It's just like it looks like something from a candy store or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's a good point. And I just like when it kind of went in on his sword here. Clearly, this isn't the same Buster sword, and this is something I was wondering.
No,
Is
it's
and
it's the hard edge weapon.
yeah,
Eric just mentioned that.
yeah. I'm sorry. I was trying to find something. I
Right.
missed that part. But I was initially wondering: are they gonna? Because the original game, like the Buster Sword, is the worst sword in the game. So I was wondering if they were going to let you have such a greater variety of weapons, or if it was going to be more of a Final Fantasy VIII type thing where you just upgrade your sword. But
Hmm.
yeah, looks like you can buy new swords. Cool.
Now, this is a new canon, so there isn't any. There technically isn't any real importance to the Buster Sword besides it used to belong to Zack. Like, he doesn't have some long family thing like it was Angeal's and he gave it to Zack and now he gave it to Cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't know if given like that's such an iconic part of his image and they did all these cutscenes and, that it would be kind of goofy if in the cutscene, he's holding the Buster Sword, but and I'm talking about like not like an in-game cutscene, but an actual CG cutscene, right? If, in the game you have like a diamond sword, but during the cutscene, all of a sudden he has a Buster Sword. It's
Mm.
going to be a little strange. So I wonder how they're going to get around that.
I want the nail bat.
Yeah.
Can't even put any materia on that.
Yeah. Be interesting. I know that one of the things they were talking about here with this was that Aerith is able to set up these zones where characters can go into these like little zones on the battlefield, and while you're in that zone, you can just keep casting magic, right? But you have
Is
to
that
be
what
within.
that does?
Yeah, you have to be within that zone. So it seems like there adds a lot of variety to the way you can engage with the enemy, which is awesome. That's exactly what
Yeah.
the system needs to keep from being boring.
Yeah, like right around 112 or so in the video, she casts like an area of effect move around herself. And I was wondering what that did because it looks like there's like a green aura around there, but she's not gaining any HP. Like their limit bars and their ATB bars don't seem to be increasing.
I love that she shoots magic and not simply going up there trying to hit him with a stick.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
wondering what that move did. because it was like I don't see anything on the UI that's being changed.
Yeah, I got it. Just came up. The screen was moving. Yeah. So I think this is. I mean, obviously it's in Japanese, and I got this information from someone else that was listening to it that knows what he was saying. But apparently that's a. I think you're right though. So that's got to be what that is, because you're right. Her HP isn't increasing. Her MP wasn't increasing or anything like that. So
Yeah, that's
very,
interesting
very
though.
cool.
That like what we were saying, like find some way to make all the characters play differently. Like if that's an ability that only she has, then like you would definitely want to take her to fight enemies or bosses that are like particularly weak to magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then just cast that, and then like burn all your ATB on spells, early in the battle if you can. Try and do
I
a lot
wouldn't
of
get
damage.
too attached to her though.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way the first game.
Yeah. I don't know. The last time I played through the game, I tried to keep her in my party, just like it was the first time. I was like, maybe this will be more nostalgic to play it this way.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to bring up the big red elephant in the room that's on fire in this video?
What's that?
Ifrit.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
he was kind of in the other trailer too, but
Here we see
think,
him in action.
oh
I think
yeah,
this
okay.
is great how they handle it. They summon it, and it's similar to FF12, except your whole party's still here. Like you come out, they assist you, and at the end of their summon, they do their classic big ability like Hellfire for Ifrit and Diamond Dust for Shiva. All in the other one. So I mean, it looks pretty basic, nothing complicated about it. It's and the design's really cool too. Like they took that design and ramped it up.
Yeah, I totally agree. It looks really cool. I mean, look, I have to admit that one thing I did really, really like from Final Fantasy VII was when you cast a summon, like they would have just like absolutely epic animations where you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. Especially things like Knights of the Round, or I remember Odin being a very crazy one that you could cast because he would be like all on the horse up in the sky and just come down, and it was really, really cool. But if they just
how are they gonna handle that?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, if they tried to do that here, it would be really cool, just to cast them and have them do one attack. But I think I do prefer this way of like y'all said with Final Fantasy 12, where there or Final Fantasy 13 also, where they're part of the battle and they assist you for a longer amount of time than just one move, because that's cool looking, but it's not really that helpful, right?
Yeah. Now I wonder if you can only summon them against bosses or like stronger enemies, because it looks like there's a bar that has to charge up before the summon is available, like on the top, and then once they're summoned, that bar starts to deplete, which is like how long they'll be fighting for you.
Are you talking about the purple bar?
Yeah, that purple bar. It's there in the beginning, I believe, right at the very start
of the trailer or the gameplay.
It appears at some point, like right around. Well, there's a camera cut,
right, and then all of a sudden it's
35 seconds, and all of a sudden there's a summon bar, but it doesn't look like it's fully charged yet. It looks like really close, like it's charging up.
Okay, and then it looks like it hits it, and then
yeah. But so I'm wondering, like, well, normal battles don't seem to last very long, so it may be the case that you can't just willy-nilly kind of summon every battle, right?
Right.
Because it'll be reserved for like these bigger areas.
That would be a good control measure, yeah.
Yeah, bigger boss fights and stuff.
Yeah. Obviously, I think I really, really, it's a double-edged sword, but I really like the way that 15 handled the summons, because it just felt epic that you actually did conjure up a god, because it was just like pick the character up and like the whole world's on fire, and it's just but it was kind of stupid that it was just like, okay, you won that battle, like it was an instant win if you summoned. So I think I kind of prefer this, even though it's not quite as epic. It's you know, it's a game. Like it should be played. It shouldn't just be one. So I like this a lot better.
I mean, I'll say about this in general. FF15 should have been this combat system.
Oh, dude, that would have been sick. Yeah.
Like this is how you get like engaged with a
Dude, this
fight.
may,
Now,
yeah.
I have to wait till like the final product comes out, of course, but this is what I was thinking FF15 was going to be. Where
Yeah.
it's a mix of like action and RPG mechanics. And instead it's just me holding the circle button until square.
Yeah. I wonder if Tabata is like looking at this trailer like, oh, like, yeah, granted that there's a lot of stuff with that. They didn't have a lot of time, you know, when they finally started working on it and everything. So it's not completely fair. They were really just, you know, running to the finish line, which obviously caused problems. But this is like night and day. Like this system here, and like you said, there's a caveat: we haven't actually played it, but we're watching like lots and lots of gameplay here. It looks really, really good, and it's just so much better than what 15 had. It's kind of just embarrassing in a way for you know, 15, that like Jesus, like this is so much better.
Yeah, I wonder how much of what we're seeing is due to lessons learned, you know,
Yeah.
from 15 and the feedback that they got from that.
Well, even Kingdom Hearts 3, although it was a little button mashy, although I didn't play it on the you know, hardest mode that just came out. Well, I guess it didn't just come out, but you know what I'm getting at. But it had a way of just engaging you like every 2 seconds with something new that was going on that was still really, really fun to play. So this seems a little bit more strategic, I think, than what I saw in Kingdom Hearts 3, which was what some people were concerned about, that this battle system was going to essentially be the same thing. This seems more in depth and more strategic, but it kind of has that same outlook where, you know, you're constantly like stuff is just constantly happening and you're just constantly having a new way to interact with the environment. And I think that's I wouldn't mind if Final Fantasy continues this route, to be honest.
If this is successful, I wouldn't mind it either.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, we got summons here, we got this boss battle here. It seems like a lot of the same type of stuff. We see a lot of different moves with Tifa and Aerith and I almost said Squall, but Cloud. Sorry, having Final Fantasy 8 in the mind too. But
Tifa is so ridiculously fast compared to everyone else.
yeah. Yeah. She's really cool.
So another quick little thing I noticed.
Sure.
Around 3:33.
Okay. Let me go 3:33, 3 minutes and 33 seconds. All right.
Yeah.
So let's go here.
Two things are happening. First, Ifrit is breathing fire on the apps monster, and he's like actually caught on fire, and then he jumps into the water to put it out, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, that's I didn't notice that. That's awesome, dude. I'm gonna go back to that. That was sick. Hold on, I'm going back.
I remember this boss having like a tsunami-like ability.
Yeah.
Maybe if you cast fire on him, it stops him from doing that.
Maybe, yeah.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about. This is so many little touches that like they just add so much to the game.
Yeah, because he stops breathing fire at a certain point, and he's still burning, and he's like swiping around his arms, and then he frantically jumps into the water, to put it out.
I wonder if that's the end of the boss fighter. I'm sorry, Eric, go ahead.
His horns are lit up also, like they're still very hot.
They're glowing. Yeah. And it looks like you can target them too, so.
Yeah. And then while that's happening, Cloud kind of runs towards the camera, like runs away from the boss, and his ATB bar is charging up even though he's doing nothing. So I know that the way the summon works is if you want to issue commands to the summon, you have to spend your own ATB bars to do it, right? Which is kind of a double-edged sword because then it prevents Cloud from doing his other spells or abilities. If you want to issue direct commands to the summon.
Right.
But maybe they balance that out by the summoner, the person who summoned it, like their bar is just increasing slowly, like while the summon is out.
That makes sense.
Now, do you have to be the battle leader to have the summon out, or can I like put like a summon on Aerith and let her summon it while I'm just playing around on Cloud?
So you think maybe are you saying that like the AI would summon it, or are you saying can you switch to Aerith and then summon it?
I guess both.
Well, I would
In the
imagine you can switch to Aerith. I would suspect because that would be I would be very disappointed if you couldn't do that. Switch to her and summon it, but I don't know if the AI would summon it because that would be kind of annoying,
yeah
right?
in the UI under Cloud,
Uh huh.
um, under his limit bar, there's like a red, looks like a red materia, which I think implies that Cloud has the summon materia equipped.
Yeah, right.
Like he's the
I
person
got it
who
on the
called
screen.
out this Ifrit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's got to be what that is. That well, okay. So it could be that he's got the red materia, which probably means Ifrith because red fire. He's
Well,
got
the summon materia was red color in the
that. Okay, yeah, you're right. I was
yeah.
gonna say that could mean we're currently controlling Cloud, but let me see when we go to Tifa if it changes. I think I think you're entirely right on that point though. Hold on, let me see. Jesus, we get okay. So we're with Tifa, and yeah, it's still got the red bar under Cloud. So, yep, you're right.
Yeah, and so at 346, you'll see Cloud in the UI on the left. Under his limit break, there's an option that says summon ability,
Okay.
and he scrolls down to it and selects an ability for Ifrit that costs him 2 ATB bars. Like he had 2, and it costs him both of them to issue a command to Ifrit.
Which makes sense. You're summoning a god, so
Yeah,
it's
and
at
he
least
brings out this big fire pillar in front of him.
yeah.
And then at 411, we're controlling Aerith, and she also has summon ability at the bottom of her options there on the left, but she doesn't use it. That they show off the limit break instead. But it was there, which makes me wonder if I guess all the characters can probably use their ATB to give the summon commands. Otherwise, why would it be there? If
Right.
Cloud summoned Ifrit, why does Aerith also have the option for summon ability there?
That's a good point. That's a really
Yeah.
good point.
Hmm.
Interesting. Well,
Guess we have a lot more control over it than we thought.
yeah.
Yeah, but you'll burn all your ATB bars really fast, I guess, if you just issue it all to the summon really fast.
Yeah. I love this is a little side tangent here, but I was just watching Tifa doing like one of her special moves at like 425. And I love that, like it just all the camera work with it, just like spinning around her and then following her up to the boss, and just like all the lights and flashing and everything. Like it's sometimes with like action games, it's just it feels really button mashy, and they can't really. One of the reasons turn-based battle systems were cool is because they can get all those like sweet camera shots, and they take those pauses where they can zoom in on Cloud, and he can do all these crazy moves and stuff, and so it seems like they're kind of keeping that presentational aspect in here,
She
which is
used her
really cool.
dolphin kick.
Yeah,
But I guess they took away the slot limit break, or I guess the gimmicks and limit breaks are not around anymore. I mean, I haven't seen anything out of the ordinary. Like Tifa, I haven't seen any slots for Tifa or.
Yeah, it seems like she just kind of used it when it was available.
Yeah. But then again, isn't it really only Tifa and Kate Sith that have like a gimmick to their limit breaks?
And Vincent too.
Well, Vincent's is more like a caveat, like you turn into a powerful demon, but you can't
right.
control them.
Yeah,
But
which
it's still
I really want to see
press
that.
the button. Press the button and you do it. But Tifa, the amount of power Tifa and Kate Sith have in their limit break is depending on your slot machines.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they took that out this time.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want to slow it down, like where you have to go through all the slots.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. I will be okay if they completely change Kate Sith. I know that's not in this trailer, but it was brought up, and I was just thinking about that. I kind of want to see what they do with that, and obviously it won't be in this game, but if that's one thing they could change, that I would be very happy with.
I wonder if we'll get Red 13 in this game.
There has to be, right?
I hope so. Yeah, at least at the end.
Yeah.
At least towards the end.
Yeah.
I hope they don't change that. If he's not in the, I mean, it's not going to ruin the game, but I mean, that's makes sense from a narrative perspective, or the way you look at it is the fact that he is a creature that they were experimenting on, right? So that would make sense that he would be in Hojo Tower, and that's where you would meet up. It would be awkward, I think, if you met him somewhere else. So,
yeah.
Anyways, those are really, really cool footage they got here. Between the trailer and then the 2 gameplay videos that we watched here, really, really awesome stuff. A lot of unique details, like the boss catching on fire and jumping in the water. That was hilarious. Yeah. I love that. But is there anything else you all want to say about this specific gameplay boss battle here that we got here that you all noticed?
I'm just glad it's not a button masher looking game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we already got that in Crisis Core. Yeah. So
activating combat mode. Oh my god.
But I think in a nutshell, I think it's pretty obvious. I think that we're very excited about this game. We're very positive about a lot, like especially the gameplay. That's a huge thing. Definitely, I thought for sure the gameplay was going to suck, and it looks like it's actually really, really good. So I'm really happy about that. And it seems like it hits some of the story moments really well, like we talked about at the end of that trailer with, just seeing the plate crashed, and it's just having that moment of silence and just very, very somber. So it seems like they're hitting the right notes where it counts, but they could cut down on the Soldier Joe Dirt, and the
ghosts,
and the ghosts. Yeah, don't even get me started on the ghosts and the Sephiroth moments and the Advent Children backflips. I think that stuff is going to be the stuff I'm going to have a problem with, but I think this is going to be a good game. I can't see this being a bad game.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
So,
I once told myself they couldn't screw up 15 after what happened with 13 and 14. And
dude, I was so hyped for 15. Like I thought, oh, they had 10 years. Like they fixed this. Like they've corrected it. Like, look, it seems open world, so it's not linear like 13. Lots of chocobo riding. I thought for sure, there's no possible way this can be bad. And it ended up not being very good. So there's always that possibility. But, anyways, so I think that about wraps us up for this week. A longer podcast for sure, but a lot of fun. Leave your comments in the description. Did you hate what we had to say? Did you like it? Let us know. And we'll be interested to correspond with you. As always, please check out our Discord. That's in the links. We got our Twitter page on there, and please go to rpgfan.com. They'll be covering this as well. But other than that, we will have to catch you all next week. So, take it easy, guys.
Take care.
See ya.